ladies and gentlemen, they got us. They did indeed ban EVA, but do we care? I'm going to tell you right now, we do not. We're going to continue to innovate on the Drytron front, and we're going to continue to prove that Drytron is one of the greatest, definitively best decks of all time. If you guys want to help in our movement, be sure to leave a like and comment down below. Let me know what you do differently. This is Drytron 9.0. This is still a first draft, and we're only going to make it better. And I need you guys' help to make that happen. So let's check this out. I'll see you guys real soon.
What's going on, guys? Logan JYA here, and as you all know, the ban list has come out. Unfortunately, our Drytrons did get a little bit hit with that EVA ban, but I tell you what, we didn't even need her to begin with, alright? And I'm going to show you guys a really cool, fun Drytron build that actually performed quite well for me. I played in the OTS yesterday, ended up getting second place, and the craziest part is they were still playing under the old list, and we were playing under the new list. It didn't make a darn difference, but we did have to change up the strategy a lot. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video so you can see the combo tutorial, let you know how to actually do some of these new plays. And I also want to preface by saying that this list is, I don't think it's optimized yet. We're still going to work through it, okay? But this is a really good starting point, and we're only gonna make it better as we go on. So without further ado, I want to shout out YuGiOh, Tatsum, and as well as the GG for free, my free tournament series. Be sure to join our Discord in the description down below and the Twitch stream. Let's get into it. Alright guys, starting things off with the basics, we're going to run through these really quick. We got triple copies of Alpha, that has not changed and will never change. Triple copies of the Zeta, that will not change either. We got a still CR a ritual spell. Triple copies of the Gamma, okay, you guys already know that the golden ratio shifted from 2 to 3 on the Gamma. It's because we want to see more names. We are still playing a very heavy name count, and that's so we are able to go into our combos as consistently as possible. Gamma is the worst one to see in multiples in hand by far, but it is what it is, and we make do with what we got. Moving on, we've got 2 copies of Delta. Delta is technically the worst name, but hey man, it's all good. The Delta is still very strong and powerful, giving you that draw, that free draw, that free advantage. It comes up quite a lot. It's another name, of course, to tribute your monsters, trigger your Ben 10. Do what you gotta do, so you already know. Why am I even bothering explaining it? You guys already know what we do with the names. Let's move on. Triple copies of Diviner. We're not playing Orange Light anymore. We're not playing Ultimateness anymore. Hopefully it doesn't come as too much of a surprise, but with the ban of EVA, we're trying some new avenues, okay? And I tell you what, there's still some strong validity for playing the Ultimateness builds or maybe the pre-preparations with Perfection builds. They're still quite effective, but in my particular situation, I'm choosing not to. We're taking a different route with it, and there's still some serious interactions here. In fact, Diviner in this version of the deck gives us access to Barone to Floor. There's a lot of cool, fun things. You can see that in the combo tutorial at the end. Next, for the artifact package, we're playing 1 copy of Scythe and 1 copy of Lancia. This ratio, I actually want to shout out another deck profile. I can't remember the gentleman's name. It might have been like Alexandre or Alexander, something like that. But he had a topping list, and we took a little bit of inspiration from that, but also added in our own spice. But this is a cool ratio. We like having more than one target for the Dagda, and Lancia is really good against one of those big decks that we're going to be fearing, being the Phantom Knights, as well as decks like the Eldritch matchup, because low-key, it still has some strong plays against that. You can stop the trap cards, stop the pot of extravs, whatever you need to do, you can do it. Moving on, we've got 1 copy of Destiny Hero Plasma and Celestial for the DPE package, no explanation needed there. And now we get into the Ritual lineup. So we are still playing the full Cyber Angel lineup. We've got Ben 10, we've got Ida 10, and we've got Natasha. So we are actually using these more so to extend through our Drytron plays rather than get us into our Fairy plays, but they're still very important, and they also really work well with one of our next engines. We've got the 1 copy of Megalith Draconids. Again, the Big Chungus helps clean out games, is another form of interruption. And he's also a backup plan in case you get drolled, so it's good to have. And now we are playing a lot of Ritual monsters, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Not as many as Tatsum is, but we are still playing a very large package of Ritual monsters. We are playing the Megaliths. We've got 2 Fool, 1 Ophiel, and 1 Bethor. This is absolutely the golden Megalith ratio. It's perfect. It enables our full new Alpha Zeta combo that ends on a lot of interruption, and there's a lot of avenues you can take with the combo, but these are some of your main enablers. I also want to mention and quickly shout out the fact that Megalith Bethor's hand effect to ritual summon another Megalith card has actually come up for me to summon Fool and actually allowed me to win a game yesterday. It's actually kind of crazy. I didn't see it coming. But I usually when this card's in hand, it's like a brick, and you're just going to summon out of a grave later. But in that situation, it was actually really good. So that's it for the Megaliths. Let's get into the spells real quick. For consistency, triple copies of Emergency, triple copies of Nova. No reason not to play 3 and 3. Playing the 1 copy of Fafnir that searches out Nova or your 1-of copy of Medionis in case you don't have access to Zeta. Moving on, we've got 2 copies of Preparation of Rites. Just more access to Ben 10 and your Megalith cards. It can also search Fool, it can search Ida 10, Natasha, whatever you really need in the situation. So I'm only playing 2 copies. It also has that cool recovery effect of adding back the ritual spell. This card's completely cuttable though. It also, I will flag that it helps you play through interruption, but if you wanted to cut it for more going second cards, I can totally see a case for that. Or if you want to get the deck down closer to 40, because we're at 44 cards right now. I'm not crazy about that, but I think that we're still experimenting, right? And it's good to have those sort of recovery plays and those things that let you play through interruptions. Our only hard going second card is triple copies of Forbidden Droplet. I still think it's going to be pretty mandatory going to the new format with Scythe Locks still running rampant. There are still some decent build-a-board decks. I think we're going to see a lot of Tri-Brigade. The Shoe Rags coming out, we got to negate those with droplets. Apollosa's on board, we got to get those out of the way. So we're trying to be ready, so that's why we're playing the droplets. 2 copies of Fusion Destiny. This is a DPE deck, and Fusion Destiny went to 2, but who even cares, right? Originally, I only played 1 in my original build, but seeing this in hand is not that bad of a thing. So if you wanted to, again, if you want to really strive for that 41-40 mark, you could cut the Fusion Destiny and the Preparation of Rites, cut this down to 1, and you would be a little bit closer, right? But frankly, I'm happy with playing the 2 copies, and I suggest you do the same. Finally, we've got 1-ofs, Called by the Grave, of course. 1 Terraforming, and then the 1-of copy of Mystic Mind. This is also cuttable, for sure, but this is another inspiration that I took from that deck list I was previously mentioning. You can find a link in the description down below. I thought it was a cool thing. I just kind of want to experiment with it, but again, these are cuttable slots if you want to go for a more consistent build. But Mystic Mind is legal, and it's still insane. I think we should probably be playing it. It really helps go second against those turn skip strategies, like with the Artifact Scythe, and forcing out interruptions as well, so it's cool. You really catch people off guard with it. Going through the extra deck, I'm going to do it as quick as I can. Got 2 copies of Moy Beta Fafnir, that's never going to change. 1 copy of Lyrilisk Assembled Nightingale. We are main decking Mystic Mind and side decking 2 more copies, so of course we want to have the ability to attack directly to get into the Zeus place in case there's things that we can't swing into with Moy Beta. That's why I think it's very important to have this card. The 1 Downer Magician to make the Zeus bigger. You guys already know how we do that. And then I am still playing the 1-of copy of Beatrice. In our main combo line, seldom will you ever actually summon it. It's actually more of a recovery play. There's a lot of situations where you still will need to go into Beatrice to get access to names, so I still think there is value to playing it, but you don't need it for the main combo line. I'm going to flag that right now. You can do it without it. Link monsters, 1 Link Rebo, 1 Artifact Dagda to access the Scythe and the Lancia. Crazy that none of those cards were hit. Really kind of blows my mind. Not Lancia, but you guys know what I mean. Scythe, Dagda, neither of them. Okay. Same thing with Verte. Sticking around. All right, sure. We're going to play it. We're going to abuse it. This is kind of the way to play the deck now. The 1 copy of Apollosa, because we do need more forms of interruption, especially if we're going into a grind game. We need those extra deck resources. So I'm not playing IP in this build, and I'm not playing Unicorn, which is a little sketchy. I don't like having that absence of spot removal, but unfortunately we had to make cuts for some of the other things that we're doing, and there are other forms of spot removal, I'll point out. We do have the Borrelsword Dragon, of course, clean out the games. The 1 Elder Entity Entis to send off Diviner, that is a form of spot removal, and of course the DPE. We got the Herald of the Arclight. You can technically hard summon this, and it does play around droplets if you do, but you have to opt to not use Diviner's effect, and then invest a gamma or 2 names into making this. So I don't know if it's necessarily worth actually hard summoning this, but it can come up, and it is cool that it does technically play around droplets. And then finally we got Baron de Fleur. Okay, so this is part of our main combo line, and I'll explain it more a little bit at the end of the video, but first let's get through the side deck. Again, quick shameless plug, go check out the GG for free. Let's get into the side deck. We got triple copies of Joel and Lockbird, you already know. I think the mirror match could still be a real thing. I think we might see more Dragon Link. There's still a lot of decks that Droll is going to be strong against, so we are continuing to play it. Oh, Alistair invoked strategies. Even though Nadir's went to 2, who really cares? That deck's still looking pretty insane. So we got to be ready for those kind of things. I'm still side decking the Drolls. These may change as we see how the format defines itself. 2 copies of Lancia, of course. You have to have the other 2 copies. It's darn near essential. The 2 extra copies of the Mystic Mind, of course. I think I already explained this one sufficiently. Triple copies of Dark Ruler No More for build-a-board decks. There are going to be some build-a-board decks. We got to be ready for it. And Sword Soul can still put up the Chow Fang. The good thing is that our Dark Ruler No More will invalidate that. So we don't have to deal with Protoss anymore. We just have to deal with the stuff that we were already dealing with earlier with far less trouble than Protoss. Now we got to be ready for those skill drains. We got triple copies of Twin, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, and then the 1 copy of Red Reboot. That's 5 back row removal cards in the side. I'm not maining any back row removal. I don't know if that's a mistake. Might have to revisit that in the future, and I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts about that. I've never been a big fan of main decking it. I prefer to run through back row. But with the prevalence of things like skill drain that we're about to see, it's going to be more difficult. So I might have to revisit that. Anyway, guys, that's it for the profile, but let's get into the combo tutorial right now so I can show you guys what we're doing with this build. Alright guys, as promised, it's time for the combo tutorial. I actually did show off a little screenshot, a little sneak peek at this combo in the Drytron Duels Facebook group. So now I'm actually going to make true on my promise and show you guys how to do it yourselves. Of course, this is an Alpha Zeta line, so it's relatively basic, and I'm going to point out some of the cool and important things about the combo. And at the end, we're going to do one where we theoretically get nibbed at the worst point, I guess you could say, and what we can kind of do to play around that. And then if you guys want to see more combo tutorials and more Drytron deck profiles, let's smash 100 likes. I'm throwing up a high goal here, but I think we can do it. So let's try and smash that 100 like point. So to start things off, of course, you need Alpha Zeta or Emergency Nova or any combination of the two. I think it could work with other names as well, but we're just doing it simply. All right, first things first, we are going to go Alpha pitching Zeta, and you already know what we do with this. This part hasn't changed. We're going to add Ben 10, and then we'll use Zeta's effect pitching the Ben 10 to add the Megalith. Ben 10 effect will then search Diviner. All so far so good. Same stuff as usual deal. Next, we will overlay our Zeta and our Alpha to summon Moy Beta. We'll use Moy Beta's effect to Foolish Burial, sending a Gamma from deck to grave. Next, we'll normal summon Diviner, use Diviner's effect. We'll send Herald of the Arclight from deck to grave. Herald effect will then search, grabbing ourselves the copy of Megalith Fool. Now, I want to point out that after this point, if we do get nibbed, we still have a Gamma we have yet to resolve in grave. So just want to flag that. We will still be able to resolve our Gamma in worst case scenario. And I'm going to show you one of the most significant choke points coming up in a moment. Activate Megalith Drytron. Detach, summon the Fool. Fool effect, add back Ben 10, like so. Next, we use Fool's effect on field, pitching the Ben 10. Summon Ophiel. We go Ben 10 effect chainlink 1, Ophiel chainlink 2. Searching Ida 10, and searching a second copy of Fool. Next, so we can be safe from this point forward, we are going to take these two and sync them up into Baronne de Fleur. So since Diviner is level 6 at the time and Ophiel is a level 4, that gives us the perfect levels to make this 10 and give us a negate protection. It also has another cool interaction that I'll mention a little bit later on. Now we are safe to resolve our Gamma at this point, but first we're going to reduce and add back our Megalith Drytron. Next, we'll activate Gamma, pitching our Ida 10. Summoning itself, and summoning out the Zeta from grave. Next, we'll take these two, turn them into Artifact Dagda on the top, like so. Sorry for any glare, by the way, guys, my apologies. We'll activate Megalith, detach off of Moy Beta, and this will also be triggering our Dagda, right? So it'll actually be Megalith Chain Dagda. Get ourselves the Scythe from deck, detach, special summon, bring out the Ida 10. Ida 10 can add back the Megalith. Now, mind you, you aren't necessarily going to be ritual summoning from this point going forward, but just fun to note. Next, we'll take that Moy Beta and that Ida 10, turn them into the Verte Anaconda, and then we'll use Verte's effect, sending from deck to grave, Fusion Destiny, and our two DPE pieces being Celestial and Plasma, and that will allow us to summon our DPE, like so. So this is our current end board, and let me flag this. This is again off of only 2 cards, a 2-card combo, and I'm going to show you all the forms of interruption we have. So of course we have our 1 Omni Negate and our pops with the Baronne de Fleur. Of course the pops are only on our turn, but it is quite good. I also want to flag that after we scythe our opponent for the first time, we can also use Baronne's effect, a special summon from grave, to scythe them again. So it's pretty cool. So yes, of course we got the Baronne, got the DPE pop, non-targeting pop, to trigger our Artifact Scythe. Lock them out of the extra deck, and when we do this on their turn, we are also going to trigger our Dagda to get ourselves a copy of Lancia out of the deck for free, an additional form of interruption. And then we are also locked and loaded with a Megalith Fool, whose effect we can use on field, sacking itself, which is currently at level 6, and the Fool in hand, to summon out Bethor. And then Bethor's effect can blow up an equal number of cards your opponent controls to the number of rituals in your grave, of which we have 5, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So we've got pop up to 5. We've got Scythe Lock, an Omni Negate, and a DPE pop. It's pretty darn good. And again, this is only a first draft, and I plan to make it better going forward. Alright guys, for the last part of this video, I'm going to show you what happens if we get nibbed right before we make the Barone, which looks like a pretty crippling position, right? So we've got all of this invested into the board. We have cards in our hands, yes, but if we do get hit with the Nibiru now, for example, our opponent decides to drop nib right before the Barone gets summoned. So that means the whole board will get sacrificed. We're not going to use Diviner's Effect because we don't want to lock ourselves down. In fact, I think it would be an illegal activation. So we get stuck with a token, and the opponent has the Nibiru on their board. And what do we do in this situation? Well, of course, this is why we hold the Gamma as long as we can. So we go for Gamma's effect, sacking the Eye to 10 from hand, special summoning itself, and bringing back any other name, like so. Next, we're going to take the Nibiru token and our Gamma, or Alpha, it doesn't really matter. We'll summon the artifact Dagda on the top. Then we'll activate the Megalith Drytron, triggering the Dagda on field, giving us the Scythe. And then we'll sack the Alpha to summon back literally any name. It doesn't really matter. I'll just use the Eye to 10 since it's here. We can use that to add back the Medionis just to have more hand advantage. Then we take the Eye to 10 and the Dagda. Turn them into Verite, like so. And then Verite effect, send for cost, pay 2,000. We set up our Celestial and our Fusion to get DPE and Scythe at the absolute minimum, playing through the Nibiru. Is this ideal? Nah, it's really not. But there are other ways you can play through it, such as summoning Apollosa, or sneaking up other boards, leaving a Megalith Fool on field to tag out for Bethor on the opponent's turn. There's a lot of different ways to go about it, but at the bare minimum, even if you do get nibbed, you can still set up the Scythe. And then again, this is only off of 2 cards. There are still 3 unaccounted for cards in hand that could let you play through or play more cautiously. It's all up to you. Anyway guys, that's everything I got for this video. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so. And that's all I got. Logan YuGiOh signing off. Have a great day. And I'll see you chumps later. Peace.